I used to run a small YouTube channel where I visited places that people say are cursed. It pays for trips and cheap hotels, nothing big, just enough to keep moving. 3 weeks ago, I was in Japan with my friends Ryan, Cole, and Marcus. We were on vacation, but we always looked for something we could turn into content. Someone suggested the legend of Hanako-san, a spirit that waits in school bathrooms. You knock 3 times and call her name. We found an abandoned elementary school outside the city. Windows cracked, lockers rusted, dust everywhere. Perfect for a thumbnail. We set up cameras and joked about how fake it all sounded. The plan was simple. Go into the girls' bathroom, knock on the 3rd stall, call her name, and wait. If nothing happened, we would edit it with dramatic music and act disappointed. The hallway leading to the bathroom was narrow. Our footsteps echoed too much. Ryan kept checking the audio levels. Cole held a flashlight under his chin, acting stupid for the camera. We pushed open the bathroom door. Tiles were broken, mirrors were dirty but still intact. The 3rd stall door hung slightly open. I stood in front of it while the others aimed their cameras at me. I knocked 3 times. Slow, clear.
Hanako-san, are you there?
Nothing answered. We waited. Marcus counted to 10 with his fingers. No movement, no sound. Just silence and our breathing. They laughed, said we got clickbaited by folklore. We filmed a few more takes for safety, then decided to leave. It was getting dark outside. We packed most of the gear. I told them I wanted extra shots of the hallway and the bathroom for atmosphere. They said they would wait in the courtyard. I stayed behind with my camera and tripod. The building was too quiet once they left. Their voices faded down the corridor. I could hear my own steps too clearly. I went back inside the bathroom for one last wide shot. I adjusted the tripod and checked the frame. The 3rd stall was centered. I knocked again, not for the video this time, just once. I don't know why I did it. For a few seconds, nothing happened. The air didn't change, the lights didn't flicker. It was just still. Then the 3rd stall door slammed shut. It wasn't a soft movement. It hit the frame hard enough to shake dust from the ceiling. I jumped back and almost dropped the camera. I stood there staring at it. My mouth was dry. I told myself it was loose hinges, wind, old buildings do that. I stepped closer to show the door on camera. My hands were shaking, but I tried to keep the shot steady. That's when I saw it. Under the stall door, 2 small feet appeared. Bare, pale, standing flat on the tile. They weren't there before. I had filmed that exact angle minutes earlier. There had been nothing. I backed away slowly. My heel slipped on dust, and I hit the sink behind me. The impact hurt my spine. Guys, stop messing around. My voice echoed too loud. No one answered. The feet didn't move. They just stayed there, facing forward. I turned and ran for the exit. The bathroom door slammed shut in front of me before I reached it. The sound was sharp and final. I grabbed the handle and pulled. It didn't budge. Ryan, open the door. I hit it with my shoulder. Pain shot through my arm. The door didn't even shake. Behind me, I heard the stall latch click open. I didn't turn around at first. I kept pulling at the handle, twisting it hard enough to hurt my wrist. There was a slow sound behind me, bare feet touching tile. One step, then another. I forced myself to look. The stall door was open now. A small girl stood inside. Short black hair, red skirt, white shirt stained near the collar. She stepped out into the bathroom. Her face was calm. She didn't blink. She walked toward me at a steady pace. I tried to move sideways. My legs didn't respond. It wasn't fear freezing me. I've been scared before. This was different. My muscles felt locked, like someone was holding every joint in place. She stopped a few feet away, close enough for me to see her eyes clearly.
Why did you call me?
Her voice was soft but flat. No anger, no sadness. I tried to answer. My jaw trembled, but no words came out. She tilted her head slightly.
Don't you want to play anymore?
I could feel tears running down my face. I wasn't trying to cry. It just happened. She smiled.
That's fine. I'll play anyway.
She stepped closer until her face was inches from mine. I could see the small cracks on her lips. Her hand shot up and grabbed my cheeks. Her fingers were cold and strong. Too strong for a child. I tried to pull back, but my body still refused to move. She opened her mouth. Black liquid poured out. It wasn't a small amount. It came out thick and heavy, covering my nose, my eyes, my mouth. It tasted bitter and metallic. I screamed, but it filled my throat. I coughed and choked. It went into my nose and burned. She didn't stop. She kept holding my face, emptying more into me. I couldn't breathe. My chest spasmed. My vision blurred completely. Everything went dark. I woke up on the bathroom floor with my back against the cold tiles. My throat burned and my chest hurt from coughing. Ryan was shaking my shoulders while Marcus kept repeating my name. Cole had the camera pointed at my face, but his hands were trembling so much that the frame kept drifting. They said they found me in the hallway on my knees, crying and choking. According to them, I suddenly ran back into the bathroom alone and slammed the door. When they forced it open, I was on the ground, clawing at my own face like I was trying to scrape something off. I pushed them away and crawled toward the sink. I could still taste it. Thick, bitter. I leaned over the porcelain and forced myself to vomit. Before anything came out, there was a long second where nothing happened. My body tensed. My stomach tightened hard enough to make me gasp. I felt something rise slowly through my throat, heavy and wrong. What spilled into the sink was black. It clung to the surface and didn't mix with the water when I turned the faucet on. It moved slowly down the drain, leaving streaks behind. No one spoke. Ryan stepped back first. Marcus covered his mouth. Cole lowered the camera without saying anything. They checked every stall again. Empty. Dry. No footprints. No signs of anyone else. The third stall door swung loosely like it had earlier. Normal. Too normal. We left the school without packing properly. We didn't film an outro. Nobody suggested going back inside. Back home, I thought distance would fix it. It didn't. Every night, I woke up facing my bathroom door. I wasn't choosing to. My body just turned that way. I couldn't move when it happened, not even to blink. I didn't see her standing there. I never saw her again. But I knew she was on the other side of that door, waiting for me to knock. My health started failing. I lost weight fast. I couldn't keep food down. Sometimes I would cough and black liquid would come out. Not a lot, just enough to remind me. Doctors ran tests. They found nothing. They suggested stress. Ryan stopped answering my calls. Marcus deleted the footage from that day. Cole said the camera glitched during the important parts. I'm alone now. Everyone left me. All my days are just the same. I just wait for her to come play with me. If I'm lucky, one of these days, she will get bored and just end me.
If you think a rental girlfriend only deals with awkward dinners and fake anniversaries, you have no idea how fast the line between acting and danger can disappear. I have worked in Tokyo for 4 years in a company that rents companionship to men who feel alone, and most of the time it felt controlled, structured, and safe. There were rules, clear time limits, and strict boundaries that protected both sides. Most of my clients were local men who wanted someone to talk to, someone to sit across from them at dinner and pretend that there was something real for a few hours. I knew how to smile at the right time, how to listen without encouraging attachment, and how to leave without confusion. It was emotional labor, but it paid well and allowed me to live comfortably on my own. I never shared my address, never mixed private life with work, and never allowed clients to follow me home. Contrary to what everyone thinks, it's a job I really enjoyed. Most of the clients were very nice, just lonely men who wanted to share their time. I enjoyed the dates and the pay was very good, but after what happened a year ago, I no longer enjoy it as I used to. It's just a job I do mechanically for the money. It all started when I was hired by a tourist from Europe. He was confident and loud in a way that stood out immediately. During our first booking, he touched my lower back too often and asked questions that leaned too personal, but nothing crossed a line that I could officially report. I kept redirecting the conversation and he kept smiling as if he enjoyed testing how far he could go. He booked me again, then again a third time. On that third date, he leaned forward and said he wanted to extend the experience into something more real, not physically, but emotionally. He wanted me to act like a girlfriend, but not in a conventional way. He asked for jealousy, public arguments, and tears because he wanted to feel like I truly cared. I want it messy and believable. I want you to fight for me like I matter. It was unusual, but technically allowed, since some clients requested dramatic scenarios. I agreed carefully, believing I could manage it as performance. But he was not performing. During the next meeting, he suggested we stage an argument in a cafe, and although I felt uneasy, I convinced myself it was still within the service. We sat across from each other, and without warning, he accused me of flirting with another man behind him. His voice rose sharply, and people nearby began to stare. "Why are you smiling at him? Lower your voice, please. Don't tell me how to react." His tone carried real anger. When he grabbed my wrist under the table, his grip was firm enough to hurt, and I had to pull free while keeping my expression steady to avoid making the situation worse. He stared at me with open frustration and said I was not acting correctly. I reported him after that meeting, and the company issued a warning. He responded with an apology and tried to book me again, but I refused. I believed ending contact would solve it. 2 days later, I saw him standing near my train station waiting for me. I had never told him where I lived, and the fact that he found that location made my body tense in a way I could not hide. "You are no longer my client and you need to leave. Couples meet outside of work, right?" When I told him I would report him as unwanted contact, his expression shifted from charm to irritation instantly, and he left. A week passed and I tried to return to normal work routines. Then during a booking at a shopping center, I heard his voice behind me while I was speaking with another client. The sound made my heart race because I knew immediately who it was. He approached us without hesitation. "So this is how you replace me? You are mistaken and you must leave." Security escorted him out, but he never raised his voice or struggled. He kept staring at me while being led away as if memorizing my reaction. That night I checked my lock several times and went to bed later than usual. I left a lamp on because total darkness felt unbearable. I told myself I was safe and that he would return to his country soon. During the night I woke up because something warm moved slowly across my foot. At first I assumed it was part of a dream, but the sensation continued deliberate and wet, and that forced my eyes fully open. He was crouched at the end of my bed, holding my ankles while dragging his tongue along the sole of my foot. I screamed immediately and the sound echoed in the small room. "I like your skin. Get out of my apartment right now! I'm going to call the police!" "My vacation here ends soon and I wanted to say goodbye." I kicked his face hard with my free foot, and his head snapped slightly to the side, but he didn't attack me. He stood up calmly, wiped his mouth, and walked toward the door as if leaving after a normal visit. I followed him into the hallway shouting for help, but he was already descending the stairs without rushing. I called the police right away, and they searched my apartment for signs of forced entry, but nothing was broken. That detail made the situation feel worse because it meant he had planned carefully and likely observed my routines long before that night. When they contacted his hotel, they confirmed he had already checked out. For several days, I stopped working because stepping outside felt unsafe. 3 nights later, I received an email from an unknown address with the subject line, "One more scene." When I opened it, there was a single sentence telling me I had forgotten to act scared. Attached was a photo of me asleep in my bed taken from inside my room. That image confirmed he had been there longer than I realized. I contacted the police again and they traced the email to airport Wi-Fi used shortly before an international departure. Soon after, my phone rang from an international number. "You were supposed to love me." After blocking the number, I sat on the floor trying to steady my breathing. Authorities later confirmed he had returned to Europe and there were no further legal steps available without continued contact. Over the next month, there were no more calls or emails, and although that silence suggested he had moved on, I could not relax fully. I transferred to another branch of the company, changed my phone number, and moved to a different apartment in another district. Before leaving my old place, I checked every corner and closet carefully, even though I knew he was gone. The police informed me there were no new incidents connected to him, and officially the case was considered inactive. The conflict ended because he left the country, not because he understood boundaries or accepted responsibility. Distance became the only barrier between us. I still work as a rental girlfriend, but I use a different name and keep stricter limits than before. I never allow clients to follow me beyond agreed locations, and I pay close attention to any request that shifts from fantasy into control. Most clients remain respectful, and I remind myself that not everyone confuses performance with ownership, even though I sleep with a light on and keep my phone within reach at night.
Hello, my name is Ren. I was 26 when this happened. I drove a taxi in Saitama, night shift mostly, because the money was better and I didn't talk much anyway. The car smelled like cheap lemon cleaner and old fabric. I kept it clean enough so no one complained. I wasn't the kind of driver who bowed every 5 seconds. I greeted people, sure, but I talked normal, casual. If someone joked, I joked back. If someone was quiet, I stayed quiet. I didn't act like a servant. Some passengers liked that. Some didn't. That night was slow. A few short rides, office workers, a drunk couple arguing softly in the back seat. Nothing special. Around 11:40 p.m., I stopped near a dim bus stop with flickering light. One man stood there alone. He looked about 50. Clean coat, nicely combed hair, straight posture. He opened the back door carefully and sat down without slamming it. He gave me an address in a firm tone. I nodded and repeated it back. We drove for about 5 minutes without speaking. The road was mostly empty. I checked the mirror once and caught him staring at the back of my head. I tried to lighten the mood. I said traffic was decent tonight. He didn't answer. I laughed softly and said that was rare. Still nothing. Just silence. Then he corrected the way I pronounced the district name. Not loudly, just precise. I said, "Yeah, got it, thanks," and kept driving. I didn't bow my head. I didn't change my tone. The car felt smaller after that. The quiet stretched too long. His breathing sounded controlled, but heavy. I kept my hands on the wheel and focused on the road. Before anything escalated, there was a pause that lasted maybe 10 seconds. No traffic, no pedestrians. Just the low sound of the engine and his breathing behind me. My grip tightened on the steering wheel without me noticing. He leaned forward slightly. His voice came out sharp. "Young people don't understand respect anymore." I glanced in the mirror and gave a small shrug. I said I didn't mean any disrespect, just talking normal. He leaned closer, his face now visible over my shoulder. "Normal. This is not normal. You address elders properly." I apologized again, calm voice. I kept my eyes on the road. He kept going. He talked about discipline, about tradition, about how drivers used to bow and keep their heads down. His tone kept rising. We stopped at a red light. He continued speaking without pause. He said my generation was lazy and arrogant, that I lacked basic manners. I felt my jaw tighten. There was another long pause before I spoke again. The light stayed red. No other cars around. My heart was beating faster now. I said if he wasn't comfortable, I could stop the ride here. He went silent. Then he laughed once, short and dry. You think you can dismiss me? I felt heat in my face. I told him calmly that I didn't want any problems. If he felt disrespected, it was better to end it. He leaned back slowly. The light turned green. I drove to the side of the road and stopped. I turned slightly in my seat. I told him he could get another taxi. He opened the door slowly. He stepped out. He closed the door with control. He stood outside the window, staring at me. There was a second when nothing moved. My engine was still on. My hands were on the wheel. He stood next to the driver's window. His face looked calm again. I reached to shift the car into drive. Then his arm shot through the open window. His hand locked around my throat. It wasn't hesitation. It was sloppy. His grip was tight and precise. His thumb pressed under my jaw. His fingers dug into the side of my neck. He pulled with sudden force. The seatbelt cut into my chest as my body jerked sideways. I tried to grab his wrist, but he yanked harder. The door flew open. My body hit the edge of the seat, then the pavement. The back of my head struck the ground. I heard a sharp crack in my ear. Before I could roll away, he stepped in close and punched me directly in the face. The first punch hit my nose. I felt the cartilage bend. Warm blood filled my mouth instantly. I tried to crawl backward, but he grabbed my collar and dragged me upright. He punched me again, this time under my eye. My vision blurred on the right side. People across the street stopped walking, but no one moved closer. I tried to stand. My legs shook. I pushed at his chest. He didn't budge. He drove his fist into my stomach. All the air left my body. I folded forward. He kneed me in the face. I dropped again. My ears rang. I tasted blood and something metallic. I tried to roll toward the taxi. There was a short pause. I heard footsteps approaching fast. He grabbed my hair and pulled me up. His voice was steady. "You will learn some respect, kid." He slammed my face into the side of the taxi door. My cheek split open against the metal edge. I screamed without meaning to. For a few seconds, I lay on my side trying to breathe. My right eye was almost shut. My nose wouldn't stop bleeding. My ribs hurt when I inhaled. I forced myself onto my knees. I had to move. I couldn't stay down. I staggered toward the sidewalk. My right leg didn't respond properly. I limped hard, dragging it slightly. I heard his footsteps behind me. He didn't rush. He walked. I tried to pick up speed, but my vision kept flashing white. I turned around and saw him 5 steps away. I raised my arms when he reached me. He slapped them aside easily. His fist crashed into my left cheek. My head snapped sideways. I swung blindly. My knuckles grazed his coat. It did nothing. He grabbed my shoulder and shoved me against a metal fence. The impact rattled my teeth. He drove his elbow into my ribs. I felt something shift painfully. I slid down the fence and landed sitting. Before I could stand, his foot kicked my jaw. My head hit the ground again. People were watching from a distance. A couple stood frozen near a vending machine. A man held his phone but didn't step closer. He kicked me in the stomach, then again in my thigh. Each hit was precise, controlled, not wild. He wasn't yelling anymore. I tried to cover my head. He pulled my arms away and kicked my side. I heard myself making weak sounds. I hated it. He crouched down and grabbed my collar again. He punched me twice in the face at close range. I felt my tooth crack. My body felt useless and heavy. I tried to crawl again. He stood and kicked my back. I flattened onto the pavement. There was another pause. I heard sirens in the distance. He stopped moving. The sirens grew louder. Blue and red lights flashed across the buildings. He stepped back from me and straightened his coat. 2 police officers ran toward us. One knelt beside me, the other faced him. They asked what happened. He answered calmly. He just said I insulted him. That was it. No shouting, no panic. Just that. The officer looked at me. I tried to speak, but blood filled my mouth. I couldn't form a sentence. The other officer glanced between us. They didn't grab him. They didn't push him to the ground. They told him to wait. He adjusted his sleeves. An ambulance arrived. Paramedics lifted me carefully onto a stretcher. My vision faded in and out. As they loaded me inside, I saw him standing under the streetlight, hands at his sides, face blank, watching. He didn't look angry anymore. He looked bored. I spent 3 weeks in the hospital. Broken nose, 2 cracked ribs, concussion, 3 teeth damaged. My jaw needed stitches inside my mouth. The police came once to take a statement. They told me the man claimed self-defense, said I had pushed him first. There were no clear camera angles. The witnesses didn't want involvement. He wasn't arrested. After I was discharged, I went back to the taxi company office to return my uniform. I couldn't sit behind the wheel without shaking. Every time a middle-aged man stood near the curb, my throat tightened. I kept seeing that hand coming through the window. I quit driving. I work at a warehouse now. No passengers. No small talk. Just boxes and silence.